Lonie, now I want to start with your tenure with the Patriots and how it started. You were around for the first 3 Super Bowls that the Dynasty won. I want to start from day one of that turnaround we saw in 2001. When Tom Brady took over, what was that like around the team, in the locker room? And for a guy like you that was a part of it every day of the journey on the way to winning that first Super Bowl for the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it was an unbelievable run. We didn't know really what we had a good nucleus of guys that Bill brought in after the 2000 season. In '01, we had Mike Vrabel, Larry Izzo, Matt Light was drafted. There was a handful of guys, Richard Seymour, and then a good nucleus of veterans. So, we had a traumatic experience in training camp with a coach passing away, actually the quarterback's coach. We had obviously the Bledsoe injury, and it was 9/11 that year, and it was just we rallied around each other, we rallied around the community, the name the Patriots, and we just started putting little wins together. What I think obviously culminated in a celebration here in New Orleans.
And one big part of that journey on winning that first Super Bowl and winning all of these Super Bowls, of course, was also that tuck rule game. Got to ask you, you were a guy on the field, you were in the snow. Was it a fumble, Lonie?
Of course it wasn't. I'm actually here with Charles Woodson right now, so I give him crap every time I see him. And as the way the rule is written, it was not. So we got a second chance, and you don't get a lot of second chances in the league. And very fortunate that the rule was written that way. I thought that we still had to perform under pressure, still had to play in the snow, still had to kick the 48-yarder. To tie it up, and so there's a lot of things that needed to take place. That was obviously a big play and a turning point in the game.
Hey, when it comes to the execution of that game-winning field goal, what's going through your mind? You are such an intricate part of that going right in that moment.
I mean, it's honestly, being a Southern California kid, the only time I ever saw snow was going up in the hills and going snowboarding in the mountains, and never really played in that type of weather, but we would practice in it, and Bill would really put us through the ringer, every day at practice, and regardless of the weather. So, I had a little mojo with my holder, Ken Walter, and we worked great as a unit, me, him, and Vinatieri, and we knew we were, we had a rhythm amongst each other. But the gravity of the event, and knowing that there's millions of people at home watching, and all your friends are probably watching, it's tough to tune that out. But I just felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. Like I said, I was this fourth string guy coming in. I thought I was going to get a job after college. I wasn't really expecting to make the pros. I always thought it was too unreachable. And then I found this little niche so I could long snap and help the team win. And so for me, I was just having fun playing in the snow, as you saw with the Snow Angel. And it was just one of those moments in life that, you look back on and you're like, wow, I was part of that.
Hey, I love you bring up that Snow Angel. We got a nice surprise for you for our friends at ABC6 in Providence. Check it out right here, Lonie.
I'm speechless.
You're never speechless.
Never die. Never die. Hey, it's just snow. Grew up playing in this weather.
What a comeback by the offense.
Oh yeah. We work hard and we just do what we've been doing all year. Never quit. Never quit.
Yeah, Wiggy.
Snapper Lonie Paxton. Even
There he is.
Snow Angels.
This one, this gonna be the best. Oh, baby, it feels so good.
What's that?
Who knows what I was saying?
What's going through your mind as you're watching that back? You literally look like a kid on the best snow day ever. But of course, that's right after that game-winning field goal, after making that game-tying field goal.
Yeah, I mean, the funny story is that I had about 5 friends in from college and high school in town, and they're slamming beers the whole day, and I'm walking around. I can't do anything on game days. I can't sit and talk to you. Like, I'm kind of pacing, and the night games just suck. So they're having a good time. They're like, it's going to dump snow tonight. We're going to do Snow Angels in the parking lot when you beat the Raiders. And so that was in my head. And then I'm telling this story when I get to the stadium. I'm like, hey, I got a bunch of guys in town that hopefully they make it to the game. And, lo and behold, it was like, all right, let's do Snow Angels in the middle of the field if we win this thing. And I couldn't make it to the middle of the field. I found the closest thing to it, which was the end zone, and was just enjoying the moment. And no Instagram, no YouTube, no alternative motive. Back then it was just pure joy and elation.
Yeah, can you take a moment for me, Lonie, and just share with people that don't understand the importance, the significance, the difficulty of being a long snapper? I always remember during the COVID year of college football, Texas's head coach was asked about a team losing their number 1 and number 2 long snapper, and you would think the world ended in his eyes. Like his reaction said it of how important the position is. For people that overlook that, can you tell them why it is so important to have a good long snapper, a reliable long snapper, and what makes it so difficult?
Back when I was playing on field goals and PATs, that's when you had Warren Sapp and Darrell Russell and Chris Jenkins just lining up all right on top of the center and just barreling down on you. And their sole job was just to take you out. So it's a thankless position. Really, people only notice you when you screw up or you get hurt. And there's no backups in the league. There's guys who attempt to do it. They come out in pre-practice. Oh, I can long snap. They screw around doing it. But when it's fourth down and in a big game, they don't want to get out there and put their hands on the ball.
Hey, man, for all of New England Patriots fans, I know they say thank you to you all the time when they see you. One more thank you to you. Now, you hear all the talks coming out, and you're down in New Orleans right now. Everyone's saying Chiefs dynasty if they get this three-peat. The Patriots have the dynasty, of course, from 2001 to 2019. What do you make of all of this, of everyone saying, well, is the Chiefs dynasty going to be better than the Patriots dynasty if they get this three-peat? What do you think of that just even happening, that narrative, that conversation coming out?
It's tough. I mean, dynasties, you'll know at the end of their career, you'll be able to look back and say, they did it this many times, they three-peated, they had won X amount of Super Bowls over this many years. I mean, to me, they're the hottest team of the recent 5 or 6 years. I think they have a great coach. They play well in all 3 phases. Dynasty is something for the media to really rally around, and for the fans. As a player, you really try to not look at that stuff until you're done, and in retrospect, you can look back. And so, it's cool when you see the papers say Dynasty. You see all the nowadays on social media. But when it's all said and done, that's when I think you'll be able to look back and compare Tom versus Pat. Chiefs versus Patriots. I mean, we did it over such an extended period of time that it's pretty hard to compete with.
Now, take me back to, speaking of the dynasty, for you guys, winning those 3 Super Bowls in a 4-year window, what was the biggest difference? 01, first time you guys do it, and then 04, the third time. Been there, done that, accomplished it, and I bet the confidence, everything about the team is way different from that first Super Bowl compared to the third. What was the difference like for you as a player and what you felt around the team?
Well, I mean, you definitely had been there before, so there's a lot of the Super Bowl week is a tricky one. With all the hype around it and that kind of dead week. Our first time we went to New Orleans, we didn't have the bye week going to the Super Bowl because of 9/11. We had to play a makeup game. So we didn't have really time to react. We beat the Steelers, and on the plane, we were figuring out tickets and hotel rooms and travel families. So it happened so fast. And then the next year, we didn't make the playoffs. And then it went back to back after that. And I think, guys felt like they had been there before. They knew we could do it. We had a good nucleus of guys that were on all 3 of those teams. I think there was 22 of us, 21 or 22. So, you had a really good set of players that had been there, plus new free agents like the Corey Dillons and guys that had come from other teams and really played a big part in it. So, I mean, it's similar, but very different as far as just the teams you play, the approach you take, and always really trying to be your best that day, that next game versus, we've been there before, we deserve to be back. Bill was really good at controlling our emotions that way.
And you mentioned that nucleus of guys that carried over. Mike Vrabel was a part of that. What did you pick up being around him? A guy that you went against in practice, I'm sure. He would try to mess with special teams guys as much as possible. He was known as an agitator. What did you pick up from your time over the course of those seasons and Super Bowl wins being around Mike Vrabel?
I mean, such a smart player. He's one of those guys that, kind of knew play for run. Is always screwing with the other side of the ball, whether he's playing scout teams, special teams, whether he was, messing with Tom and the offense, in the locker room, in the meeting room. We used to ride the bus early. There's a set of buses that we would take an earlier bus with the train and get to the 4.5 hours before the game and just talk a bunch of smack amongst each other and give it to the trainers. And, so we had a really good bond, and, he would invite us over for Christmas morning with his kids. And, that's what I learned from him, is just kind of building, those relationships and then proving it when in crunch time.
Yeah, he talks about that a lot now, Lonnie. It's awesome you point that out. He's all about relationship building with the players. And his big thing is, I will give you the respect and I'll match what you give me and what you give the team. What made him special in that way? If he could connect with everyone, you mentioned it, Tom Brady, you guys on special teams, the trainers, how is he able to connect with so many people in a genuine way and show that, he's a guy that has their back and then builds that on the other end that you want to fight for him?
Yeah, I mean he's so he's such a smart guy. So he's up to date on anything you talk about. It could be could be history, it could be pop culture, it could be country music, it could be sports. And he's well versed in everything. So he's got something in common with almost everyone he talks to, and he remembers your name. He remembers something about your family, and he's never too big for the moment, to really take ownership of what needs to be done and how he can help fix it. And, just an all-around solid dude, and so fun to be around in the locker room because he's one of the most cynical pricks you'll ever meet, but one of the best friends you'll ever have.
Hey, he was your cynical prick. He was the guy that had your back when he's acting like that. Hey, Lonnie, I know you're working with Light Helmets now, the brand Light Helmets, all caps Light. What's going on with them, and what are you seeing as you've joined them? How far helmets have come, and how advanced the technology is now to make the game safer?
I mean, unbelievable advancements from the guys over there at Light Helmets. I mean, playing football a long time, that the equipment really hasn't changed, and especially on the helmet vertical. It's always been this kind of giant brick that you put on your head. That's why all of us have big necks, because you need to build all the muscles to be able to support that thing and take the hits. And what Light's really done is shave down some of that weight and use just as strong materials and the ability to really show the youth that there's an updated form of equipment that you can put on and be just as safe, a little bit lighter, and I really love what they're doing, in the youth sports, and my kids wear them. I have 3 boys that all play football, and they wear them and they love them, and so I'm just trying to lean. I'm a big advocate for the comeback from brain injuries. I'm filming a documentary myself about ways you can kind of be proactive in whether it's equipment, whether it's in holistic medicine, whether it's kind of physical therapy for your brain. So anything like that, I can really route them, and they're based in Carlsbad, so they're local buddies of mine.
Yeah, no, I'm happy you bring up that documentary. I believe it's called Thrive. Why is this also important to you? You partner with Light. You're putting a documentary together, talking with Sidney Crosby, not just football players, but guys and athletes that have dealt with concussions in so many avenues of life. Why is this so important to you, Lonnie?
Well, I mean, I've lost a half dozen former teammates, friends in other sports they've kind of taken a bad way out and taken their own life for one reason or the other, and there's a lot of studies that say brain injuries led to that. So what we're really trying to do with Thrive is let people know that if you injure your knee, you go to rehab. You injure your shoulder, you go to physical therapy. You injure your brain, there's a place for you to go. It's not just stay in a dark room and hope it gets better. There's actually methodologies and modalities that work. And so with the documentary, we're working on that. I'm working with another company called Gaia Medical that is it's a saliva test for head injuries. And so I'm just kind of trying to really wrap my hands around this area of head injuries and sports, and be able to catch these things easy or sooner, so that there's some confidence that parents have, putting their young kids in these sports, which at the end of the day have changed my life for the better. So I wouldn't, I got bumps and bruises and injuries, but if you teach the game the right way, you have the right equipment, and there's ways to assess injuries when they do happen, it gives you the best chance to be supportive.
Hey, Lonnie, I just got to say thank you for that, man. And your friends' memories, doing more to make the sport safer. You have your sons playing football, like you said, but giving back to the sport that gave so much to you. So I appreciate everything you're doing. Light Helmets, documentary Thrive in the works right now as well. Lonnie, appreciate you taking the time and coming on Foxboro Rush, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. Sorry for the noise in the back. Warren Sapp's coming out here yapping with this driver, so...
Hey, make sure you tell him you were asked about the tuck rule. Be like, I was just asked about the tuck rule while you're making all this noise.
I think he ran me over a couple times. So,
That's perfect. Hey, Lonie Paxton, 3-time Super Bowl champion. Thanks again for taking the time, Lonnie.
Thank you, guys.